welcome to Movie Review Mom. And if you're a returning subscriber, yay, thanks so much for coming back. My goal is to give you the heads up on filmmaking quality and content so that you can make the best decision as to whether or not you want to spend time or money or both watching a specific film. So that specific film I'm reviewing today is called Duel. It is currently available on streaming. It's rated R and is an hour and 34 minutes. My Movie Review Mom grade for this movie is a C. Now, keep watching and let me tell you why. First, in a nutshell, I'll point out things I liked and didn't like. I'll offer tips for parents, themes worth talking about, and even recommendations for other films that you might also like if you like this one. So in a nutshell, upon receiving a terminal diagnosis, Sarah opts for a cloning procedure to ease her loss on her family and friends. When she makes a sudden and miraculous recovery, her attempts to have her clone decommissioned fail and lead to a court-mandated duel to the death. Now she has 1 year to train her body and mind for the fight of her life. So let me tell you the list of things that I liked first. I've been a fan of Karen Gillan ever since I saw her first in Guardians of the Galaxy. I really wanted this film to be good for her because this is her feature film. Sadly, most viewers are going to be underwhelmed, but good for her for starring in her own movie. And I would love to see more of her in movies, not necessarily like this, but in anything where she's the star, because I do really like her. There's a really great opening scene. And I was like, wow, what's happening? This is going to be good. Great action, great suspense. Unfortunately, that was kind of the best of the movie, really. The movie was, I'll get to that in just a minute though. The movie was filmed in Finland during the pandemic. There's a hip hop dance lesson scene in the movie that I thought was really cute with Karen, of course, and Aaron Paul. And I thought that they had an interesting dynamic. I kind of was expecting more to be there. And unfortunately, there wasn't. But for what there was, I really loved watching them on the screen together. Now, the list of things that I didn't like is a little bit longer. First of all, despite this intriguing opening sequence that I mentioned, Act 1 is extremely slow. Act 2, pretty slow. Act 3, you think, all right, we're going to go for the big guns here, and literally, and it's also kind of slow too. So it's just overall a slow burn, but not a big payoff. The humor is very dry and satirical. Sadly, Theo James is only in the very first scene of the entire movie. I saw he was going to be in it and I like him. So I thought, oh, great. And then in the scene, you're like, okay, and how is he going to fold into the story? But that's it. That's all you see. Maybe I'm giving you a spoiler, but just giving you also the heads up so you kind of know what to expect. I understand that Sarah's robotic personality serves to illustrate symbolic themes in the movie, yet many viewers are just going to be bored and not get it. And understanding that robotic personality, that very bland reaction to everything is intentional. Again, it won't be everybody's cup of tea, though. The first scene gets you excited, but like I said, don't hold your breath for a lot more. There is some depth, but a little bit of confusion at the end, I think, as well. That I think viewers are going to walk away going, huh? It's kind of a meh type of a movie. Let me give you some tips for parents. This is not appropriate for kids for several reasons. First of all, there is full female frontal nudity of a dead woman. Now, I don't know if it's a real woman or like a mannequin kind of a thing. It's supposed to be, a real dead woman, but it's like, the whole thing. There's blood and gore, murder, of course. Kids, I think, are going to be bored, and so will some adults. There's violence and weapons of a variety of sorts. Some of the themes that are illustrated well are identity, self-worth, satire, life and death, and jealousy. So I always write down funny lines and interesting lines on my written review at moviereviewmom.com. I'll share them with you or a couple of them with you right now. One of the funny lines is spoken by Trent, who's played by Aaron Paul. And he says, if it's the difference between life and death, it's okay to be boring. without explaining that whole scene. And then an interesting line was spoken by a salesman, just this minor character. And he says, "This is a gift for your loved ones. Can you put a price on their not being sad?" And that's kind of the sales pitch for buying one of these very expensive clones. And, most people would be guilted into that because, yeah, you don't want your family to suffer. And so generally the family doesn't know that it's a clone. They think it's you, even though you have really passed on. It's an interesting idea for a movie, really. I liked that. I was just hoping it was going to go more places. So that's it for my review, kind of short and sweet, or maybe not so sweet. But let me give you a recommendation for another movie that I also really enjoyed that is very similar, but I think better done. It's called Swan Song. Again, it's a story about a man who's getting ready to die, and he purchases this clone, has to get to know the clone. The clone needs to get to know him and train him, all of that kind of stuff. And there are some interesting layers to that film. So check it out. All right. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. I hope that you find my reviews helpful. Sometimes it's hard to know with all the choices out there where you should spend your time and money. And that's my goal, trying to save you time and money by having you watch the best movies that I think you'll enjoy the most. All right. Comment down below. Let me know if you watched this and what you thought of it. I could be totally wrong and you thought it was the greatest movie ever. But if you watch it and you didn't like it, well, then, I gave you the heads up. All right. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.